This is going to be the first in a series of 200 videos about the city of Baltimore and its various unique neighborhoods. Baltimore as a city is known for being very neighborhood oriented with diverse and sometimes unusual neighborhoods. So I'm going to talk about some of the neighborhoods to accompany the ride, so it's not just riding around with no context. So this first video is going to be in the southwest Baltimore neighborhood of Pigtown. Right now it's traveling through a industrial part of Pigtown. So Pigtown, it's going to give a few interesting little facts about the neighborhood. First of all, probably the most obvious unique thing about the neighborhood is its name. Some people, particularly people who aren't from the area, hear Pigtown and they think it's being used in sort of a derogatory, mocking kind of way. But the residents of Pigtown have embraced it. It dates back to 18th and 19th century when the area was a major hub for slaughterhouses and pigsties and things like that. And the name stuck, and now there's lots of pig themed things going on, particularly on like the Main Street area. There's a bronze pig statue, and they have a pig festival where they have pig races, and there's lots of pig themed cuisine in the area. So it's sort of become a source of identity for a lot of people in the area. To go along with that, let's see, talked about the pig in the park, the bronze sculpture, talked about the pig festival. Another thing about Pigtown is that it's been an area that's been known for decades now as sort of an up-and-coming neighborhood. It's had some revitalization, and then there's still a long ways for it to go, depending on which area you're in. So it's definitely been getting more and more investment over the years, but it's still got some issues. It was definitely hit hard by deindustrialization and a lot of the same issues that hit a lot of Baltimore neighborhoods, and it's been kind of a slow but steady recovery. Just geographically, it's in the southwest part of the city, not too far from Raven Stadium and Camden Yards. It's just west of those two. It's not too far from the Inner Harbor. It's west of that as well, about a mile away. And yeah, that's right now this ride is getting into the residential part of Pigtown. So there's a residential part and a more industrial part, and this is kind of on the edge of the residential part right now. I guess I was going to cut it off here, but maybe I'll stick with this ride and just kind of give some narration here and there, depending on what it passes, to add a little context. To the left of where we are right now is the B&O Railroad Museum. And then now we're headed back towards the main strip. To the left of where we are right now there's a pig statue of some sort. Oh, I skipped it, my bad. But take my word for it, there's a pig around there somewhere. Now we're back on Washington Boulevard, which is sort of the unofficial main street. I guess it is sort of the official main street, come to think of it. We're headed south now through the main strip. Now we're coming up on one of the main intersections in sort of downtown Pigtown. Unfortunately, you can see some of the telltale signs of the drug trade, and unfortunately a memorial or two that we just passed. But now we're continuing south on Washington Boulevard. For the record, I'm not actually driving that fast. The camera just makes it look like I'm going faster than I am. People are always honking at me to go faster, so probably driving 20 miles an hour right now, but it looks like I'm going 50. Now, before too long, up here on the right, we're going to be passing Carroll Park, which is a nice place. It's got lots of athletic fields and places to walk and that sort of thing. On the left, we have it's like a shed for the buses. All the city buses go. It's I think it was relatively recently a big renovation project that the city did. So it's nice to see that they were able to kind of salvage some of that old history and use it for something productive. Again, I'm not going 100 miles an hour. It's just a camera. Now on the right here, we're coming up on a somewhat main intersection. That large white building that you'll see shortly on the right is Montgomery Park, and that's another old industrial building. I think it was some kind of like department store warehouse that recently was renovated into offices and things like that. Now we're headed north with Carroll Park on the right hand side and headed into a different neighborhood, sort of I guess Mount Clair, Carrollton Ridge area. Okay, now we're approaching Pigtown from a different direction. As you can see off in the distance, there's that white building, Montgomery Park. And then here we're headed into, I guess what's officially known as the Camden Carroll Industrial Area, but it's all kind of blobs together. I guess this isn't officially Pigtown, but it's right adjacent to Pigtown. This part is mostly just warehouses and kind of scrubby looking buildings and that sort of thing. But this, like the rest of Pigtown, this area has seen some revitalization efforts. There's a number of active businesses and things like that in this area. So that's good to see. It's interesting. I plan to do a video in the future, and I've actually done one or two in the past, but looking at like Google Street View and seeing some of these neighborhoods from 10 or 20 years ago and what they look like then and what they look like now, they're not perfect now, but a lot of this was much worse looking 10 or 15 years ago. Just derelict factories and abandoned houses, and like I said, it's still a little rough around the edges, but it's definitely seems to be moving in the right direction. Now this is kind of a retread of a street that I drove down earlier, but see it in a different lighting. This is on the sort of downtown side of Pigtown, to the right of, see, I told you I don't drive that fast. But to the right of where we are now is where the Ravens Stadium, Camden Yards, Inner Harbor, all that kind of stuff is. And if you continue straight, you'll head into downtown. In front of us is another one of those warehouse buildings that was turned into some kind of, I'm assuming offices or mixed use something. Not exactly sure what that building is, but I know it's been renovated fairly recently. As you can see, the row houses on the right, they're definitely showing signs of being a little bit more vibrant. Like I said, if you compare to what this looked like 15 years ago, you'd be pretty impressed. Like I said, I'll throw a video up in the future of comparing some of these neighborhoods, and unfortunately there's a lot of neighborhoods that have gone the opposite direction, where they 15 years ago were thriving middle class neighborhoods and now they're abandoned and burned out houses and things like that. But Pigtown's one of the ones where it seems to be moving in the right direction, slowly but surely. Coming back into the residential part of Pigtown now. Now headed back into the middle of Pigtown. On the right, we just passed a pig statue. That was the one I was trying to point out earlier, but missed it. Anyways, we're headed back down Washington Boulevard now. Kind of, at this point, I feel like you've seen most of what Pigtown has to offer. I may have missed a few things here and there, but generally that's Pigtown in a nutshell. So I'm gonna wrap up my narration of Pigtown, and there's a few more minutes of just similar drives through the area, but I'm gonna leave it here. So thanks for watching, and if you have any recommendations, like I said, there's roughly 200 neighborhoods in the city of Baltimore. So if you have any requests or recommendations for which ones I should do next, let me know, and I'll see if I can get to them.